माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर श्री राधे जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन धाम जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदहिश डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत महाराज स्वामी शिला प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदहिश डिवाइन ग्रेस शिला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज शिला प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य शिला हरदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की नवद्वीप श्री मायापुर धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई जमुना माई की सामवेद गौर भक्तवृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, Gaur Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from 10th canto. This is chapter 71. The chapter is entitled Lord Travels to Indraprastha. Today we have to read text 6, 10:71, 6. द्वैरथे सतुजेतव्यो मा शतक्षौहिणीयुतः ब्राह्मण्योऽभ्यर्थितो विप्रे न प्रत्याख्याति कर्हिचे द्वैरथे सतुजेतव्यो मा शताक्षौहिणीयुतः ब्राह्मण्योऽभ्यर्थितो विप्रये न प्रत्याख्याति कर्हिचे द्वैरथे सतुजेतव्यो मा शताक्षौहिणीयुतः ब्राह्मण्योऽभ्यर्थितो विप्रये न प्रत्याख्याति कर्हिचे द्वैरथे सतुजेतव्यो मा शताक्षौहिणीयुतः ब्राह्मण्योऽभ्यर्थितो विप्रये न प्रत्याख्याति कर्हिचेत् द्वैरथे सतुजेतव्यो मा शताक्षौहिणीयुतः ब्राह्मण्योऽभ्यर्थितो विप्रये न प्रत्याख्याति कर्हिचेत् द्वैरथे सतुजेतव्यो मा शताक्षौहिणीयुतः ब्राह्मण्योऽभ्यर्थितो विप्रये न प्रत्याख्याति कर्हिचेत्। माता जी द्वैरथे सतुजेतव्यो मा शताक्षौहिणीयुतः ब्राह्मण्योऽभ्यर्थितो विप्रये न प्रत्याख्याति कर्हिचेत्। Word to word meanings. Dvairathe, in combat involving only two chariots. Sah, he, tu, but. Jetavyah is to be defeated. Ma, not. Sata, by 100. Akshauhini, military divisions. Yutaha, joined. Brahmanyah, devoted to Brahmanical culture. Abhyarthitah, entreated. Vipraihi, by Brahmanas. Na pratyakhyati, does not refuse. Karhichet, ever. Translation and purport. Translation: he will be defeated in a match of single chariots, not when he is with his 100 military divisions. Now, Jarasandh is so devoted to Brahmanical culture that he never refuses requests from Brahmanas. Purport: it might be argued that since only Bhima could equal Jarasandh in personal strength, Jarasandh would be more powerful when supported by his huge army. Therefore, Uddhava here recommends single combat. But how could Jarasandh be persuaded to give up the support of his powerful army? Here Uddhava gives the clue. Jarasandh will never refuse a request from Brahmanas, since he is devoted to the Brahmanical culture. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. He Shri Sanatana Prabho Karunambarashe He Rup Durgat Janai Kadayavaloka He Bhatta Yugma Sumate Raghunatha Dasa Shri Jiva Me Kurut Mandamater Dayantara Yat Kirtanam Yasmaranam Yadikshanam Yadvandanam Yachravanam Yadarhanam Lokasya Sadyo Vidhunoti Kalmasham Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। यो अन्तःप्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरा स्वधाम्ना। अन्यां च हस्तचरणश्रवणात्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। हृदयस्य प्रेरणया प्रवर्तितोऽहं वराकरूपोऽपि तस्य हरे पदकमलं वन्दे श्रीचैतन्यदेवस्य। हरे कृष्णा। So today we are reading from 71st chapter. So all of you must be knowing the background that Krishna was in his Sudharma Sabha, and there he received a letter from 20,000 kings who were captured by Jarasandha. They sent a Brahmana messenger that Krishna should come and free them. So they sent their petition to Krishna. Simultaneously, Narad Muni also arrived on the scene and informed Krishna about the Rajasuya sacrifice that Maharaj Yudhishthir is going to conduct. So he brought an invitation from Maharaj Yudhishthir to Krishna. Now Krishna was in a dilemma that where to go, because he was a Kshatriya king. All the Yadavas, they were also very enthused to go and attack Jarasandha, because they have received this petition from these 20,000 kings. And the kings, the Kshatriyas, it is their nature that if somebody comes and asks them for some help, they must do. This is their dharma. They must go and help that person. So the meaning of Kshatriya is the Shatta Trayate iti Kshatriya. One who protects from wounds or any disaster is called Kshatriya. So it is the dharma of the Kshatriyas to go and protect those 20,000 kings who sent their petition to the Yadavas, especially to Krishna. So they were very enthused, but immediately he received a message from Raj Yudhishthir. Narad Muni came and gave that message about the Rajasuya sacrifice. So Krishna was in dilemma what to do. So he started consulting his mantri Uddhava. So Uddhava started to tell that actually Jarasandha is so powerful that if Krishna you go to Indraprastha to attend the Rajasuya sacrifice, then all these Yadavas combinedly they won't be able to defeat Jarasandha. Jarasandha is so powerful, and that too he has 100 Akshauhinis along with him, 100 military divisions along with him, so they cannot defeat. So what should be done? So Uddhava suggests that actually Bhim is as powerful as Jarasandha. Both have the strength of 10,000 elephants. So rather than directly confronting the armies of the Yadavas, confronting the armies of Jarasandha, it would be better if Bhim fights with Jarasandha. But again, for Bhim also, for himself, to fight Jarasandha along with his 100 military divisions will be very difficult. So this he is suggesting this shloka. He is saying that Dvairatho satu jetavyo. He should be invited in the match of single chariots, means one-on-one fight. The Bhim should invite him to fight one-on-one. Ma shata akshauhini yutah. But if he is with his 100 akshauhinis, then it will be very difficult to defeat him. Ma means it will be very difficult, it won't be possible. But then how to persuade Jarasandha to fight one-on-one? So he is telling Brahmanyo, he is very obedient to the Brahmanical culture. So Jarasandha was very obedient to the Brahmanical culture. So viprayarna pratyakhyati karechit. So if some Brahmanas go and request something from him, he won't refuse. So he is suggesting that Bhima should go in the guise of a Brahmana and ask for a fight from Jarasandha. He is giving a clue here. So here Jarasandha is very respectful to the Brahmanical culture. This is sometimes shocking, because he is a kind of asur, because he is against Krishna. But Asuras earlier times, they were also in the favor of the Brahmanical culture, because the aim of the Asuras is sense gratification. And earlier they knew that if you want permanent sense gratification, then we should have to take shelter of dharma. Dharma, arth, kam. These are the three purusharthas along with moksha. But generally Asuras were not in favor of moksha, so they only considered kama. But for kama you need dharma, because for kama you need arth, and for arth you need dharma. So in order to perform dharma, they needed brahmanas. And taking care of the brahmanas, respecting the brahmanas was a part of the Brahmanical culture, was a part of dharma. So in order to get money, in order to get arth, they need to follow dharma, so they respected brahmanas. And from the brahmanas, they used to get the means that how to worship the demigods in order to become very prosperous. And when they become prosperous, they have a lot of wealth, then they enjoy their life. So their philosophy is that if you want calm, you have to follow Brahmanical culture. So they were intelligent in one sense. Not like today that people, they want wealth but they don't want to follow dharma. So the wealth that comes from adharma is not permanent, and it leads to the destruction, their own destruction. But the wealth that comes from dharma, that is permanent. So here we see Jarasandha, he is obedient to the Brahmanical culture. Now if we look at this entire pastime, like Krishna, he does many things through this one pastimes. Actually one of the name of Krishna is Bhuri Karmana. Bhuri Karmana means he does one Leela, and through that one Leela he will do many things through that one Leela. For example, if you see this particular pastime, here he has to deliver Jarasandha. So this is one important task that he has to perform. He has come for this purpose. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam. To subdue the miscreants, he has taken this avatar. So this is one of the prayojan of his Leela, that he has to subdue the miscreants. And one of the powerful miscreant on the surface of planet Earth was Jarasandha, who was inimical to the devotees, who was inimical to Krishna. So he has to be subdued. So this is one major task that he has to perform. But along with that, he ensured that the Rajasuya sacrifice of Maharaj Yudhishthir goes on very well through this act. Because unless Jarasandha is killed, Yudhishthir Maharaj cannot perform the Rajasuya sacrifice. So through this pastime, he is also facilitating the Rajasuya sacrifice of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Not only that, he is also delivering the 20,000 kings who are the devotees of Krishna from the clutches of Jarasandha. So this another thing that he is also accomplishing through this. And along with that, he is using Bhima as an instrument to kill Jarasandha, and by that he is glorifying Bhima. So this is the nature of the Lord. In fact, this is the nature of the love. Anywhere where there is love, a lover wants to glorify his beloved. So Krishna loves his devotee and devotees love Krishna. So Krishna wants to glorify his devotees and devotees want to glorify Krishna. Very sweet relationship is there. In this world we see people want that they should be glorified. But in Krishna's pastimes, or wherever there is love within the Lord and his devotees, we see Lord wants his devotees to be glorified and devotees wants the Lord to be glorified. In fact, many times Lord wants the devotees to outshine himself also. We see Ram Leela, Lord Ram had to construct a bridge over the ocean in order to go to Lanka. But how Hanumanji crossed the ocean? He just chanted Jai Shri Ram and jumped over the ocean. So it appeared that Hanumanji is even great than Lord Ram. When the Shakti weapon of Meghnad struck Lakshman, and Lakshman was lying, not knowing, lying there almost dead. He was about to die, and Lord Ram was not knowing what to do. Then Hanumanji brought Shushen Vaidya, and he brought the Sanjeevani booty, brought the entire mountain only from that Sanjeevani, for that Sanjeevani booty. So it appeared that Hanumanji saved the life of Lakshman. So this is the way Lord is. Even if you see in Gita, Krishna says, Nimitta matram bhav savyasachi. Maya vete nihita purvameva nimitta matram bhav savyasachi. That don't think, Arjun, that if you don't fight, all these people will be saved. They are already killed. They are already killed by me. Just become an instrument. Sometimes we see that some snake comes out, and father, he kills the snake. Then the child takes that rod, that danda, and starts beating on that snake. Already the snake is killed. So Krishna says that already these people, they have been killed. You don't think that you will not fight, so they will be saved. You just become an instrument, and nimitta matram bhav savyasachi. You just become the instrument and win the glory, like that Krishna says. So Krishna makes his devotee an instrument so that the devotees, they get glorified. Once one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He propagated the Krishna consciousness movement in India. He went to South India, he preached in North India. But why didn't he go to West? So Prabhupada said that he left the task to me so that I will be glorified. So this is the nature of love, that wherever there is love, the devotees want to glorify the Lord, and Lord wants to glorify the devotees. In fact, the Lord wants the devotees to outshine him also. We see this thing goes on in our parampara also. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says to Nityanand Prabhu that every year you need not come to here Puri. You should stay in Gaudadesh only and do preaching there. You can preach to those people whom I can never reach. So he is making Nityanand Prabhu his instrument. We see the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made the 6 Goswamis his instrument and glorified them. He made them instrumental in establishing the Gaudiya Vaishnavism philosophy here in Vrindavan. Later on we see when almost the Gaudiya Vaishnavism was lost in due course of time, then Bhakti Vinod Thakur revived that Gaudiya Vaishnavism. After that, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and later Srila Prabhupada. So Krishna makes the devotees instrument in his mission and glorifies them. This is the nature of the Lord. Although Lord is the support, Lord is the basis of everything. In Gita he says, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam proktam sutre manigana iva. I am the source, I am the basis of everything. Nothing is superior to me. Everything, I pervade in everything. Just like the strings, they rest, the pulse, they rest on the string. Similarly, the entire cosmic manifestation rests on me. I am the basis of everything. So he is the basis of everything, but he empowers his devotee to do wonderful acts which even Lord does not do in his pastimes. So this is the nature of the Lord. He makes the devotee indispensable part of his pastimes. We sometimes we are connected to corporate seminars. So there they have the concept of linchpin, especially in the time of recessions, when people are thrown out of the jobs. So they say that you have to become a linchpin. Linchpin means it is a pin which connects the wheel to the axle. In any vehicle, the wheel is supported to the axle, so there is a pin that supports the wheel to the axle. If that pin is taken out, the axle is very good, the wheel is very good, but the wheel will come out of the axle and the vehicle will no longer work. So that linchpin, although it is very small, it is an indispensable part of the vehicle. So people in corporate want to become linchpins so that they cannot be thrown out by the companies. But here Krishna makes his devotees linchpins. He makes his devotees the linchpins of his pastime. So this is the nature of the Lord. And another wonderful thing that Lord is accomplishing through this act is that he is also glorifying Uddhava. Although he is all-knowing, although he is supremely omniscient, but he is taking advice from Uddhava. Now Uddhava is a very dear devotee of the Lord. And although he is the servant of Krishna in Dwaraka, he is an associate of Krishna in Dwaraka, but he is very much cognizant with the mellows of Vrindavan. Because he has gone to Vraj, he has understood the mood of the Vrajvasis. Not everyone in Dwaraka understands the mood of Vrajvasis. Only 3 persons are there. Lord Balaram is there, Mother Rohini is there. They are the Brajvasis only, they came from Braj, and Uddhava. Uddhava is very great personality. He is like a bridge between the Yadavas and the Brajvasis. While introducing Uddhava in the 10th canto, Sukdev Goswami says, Vrishni Nam Pravaro Mantri Krishnasya Dahita Sakha Shishyo Brahaspate Sakshat Uddhava Buddhisattama. That Uddhava is Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri. He is the best counselor among the Vrishnis. He is the best foremost among the Vrishnis. counselor of the Vrishnis, and Krishnasya Dahita Saka. He is very dear friend of Krishna. He is so dear and confidential friend of Krishna that Krishna, when he goes to the house of Kubja, he takes Uddhav along with him. When Krishna has to send somebody to Braj to console his parents, to send message to the gopis, he chooses Uddhava. So this goes to show that Uddhava is very confidential associate of Krishna. And he is so dear friend that in 11th canto he spoke the entire Uddhav Gita to Uddhav. And he says to Uddhav that a devotee like you, Uddhav, is very dear to me. Although Lord Shiva is my own self, he is my own Swarup, but he is not dear to me as you are dear to me. Although Brahma is Atma Yoni, my own son, but he is not dear to me as you are dear to me. Although Lakshmi is my wife, but she is not dear to me, so much so that you are dear to me. So Krishna and Uddhava, they both love each other, and Krishna appreciates Uddhava a lot. And Uddhava looks exactly similar like Krishna. He dresses similar to Krishna also. In fact, he takes the dress of Krishna and wears that only. Whatever Krishna eats, he eats that only. So he is so much fond of the Lord. He is such a staunch, great devotee of the Lord. So here Krishna is asking Uddhava only what to do in this precarious situation. Although Krishna is all-knowing, although Krishna is omniscient, but he is seeking advice from Uddhava. The intelligence of Uddhava is coming from Krishna only. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Buddhi buddhimatam asmi. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. Whatever intelligence an intelligent person has, that intelligence comes from me. So Uddhava's intelligence also coming from Krishna only. In fact, whatever good thing we see in this world is coming from Krishna. Krishna says, Yadyad vibhuti mat sattvam shrimad urjitam evava tattat eva vagachatvam mama tejonsha sambhava. That whatever beautiful things you see, whatever grandeur, magnanimous thing, whatever opulence, beauty you see in this world is just a spark of my splendor. So whatever good things, whatever good qualities one has is actually coming from Krishna. Krishna is the owner of these qualities. A person who has these qualities, he is not to be glorified for these qualities. Actually, these are Krishna's qualities. So a person has good qualities, it is not his glory. It is actually the glory of Krishna. Then what is the glory of the living entity? Glory of the living entity is that whatever qualities he has got from Krishna is to use those qualities in the service of Krishna. That is his glory. If a person has whatever ability, if a person can speak, he should speak for Krishna. If a person has an ability to sing, he should sing for Krishna. If a person has an ability to paint, he can paint for Krishna. If a person has an ability to do management, he can do management for Krishna. That is his glory. That is the success of any person. That whatever abilities a person Krishna has given him, that should be used in the service of Krishna. Because these abilities, they come and go. They are not permanent with anyone. The abilities, they come and they remain for some times and they go away. But glorious is a person who uses these abilities for Krishna in his service, in Krishna's service. So an intelligent is that devotee. But if he doesn't do that, then anyway these qualities will be taken away by the period of time. These qualities come and they stay for a long time only when these qualities, they are engaged in the service of the Lord. Yasyaste bhaktir bhagvatya kinchana sarve gunai tatra samasate sura harav bhaktasya kuto mahad guna manorathena satidhavto bahel. That if a person engages himself in an unalloyed devotional service of the Lord, then all the demigods, with their wonderful qualities, they emanate, they become present in the body of a devotee. So all these qualities, they come because of bhakti and they stay if these qualities are engaged in the service of the Lord. If they are not engaged in the service of the Lord, they will be taken away. Even for a devotee, when these qualities are not needed for him, these qualities are taken away from him. For example, we see Arjun. Arjun was such a great warrior, but after when Krishna left this planet Earth, he had to bring the wives of Krishna to Hastinapur. So that great archer, holder of the Gandiva bow, who was the champion of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was bringing the wives of Krishna to Hastinapur, but in the midst, he was being defeated by the cowherd men with their sticks. So when he comes to Hastinapur, he reports to Maharaj Yudhishthir, Vanchito ham Maharaja, Harina Bandhurupina, Yena me bharatam tejo, Deva Vismapanam. That my prowess was such that Deva Vismapanam, even the demigods were bewildered by my prowess. But when Krishna went away, my all prowess also went along with him. So these qualities, they are given to us, gifted to us for the service of the Lord, and they should be used for that. For example, we have some service and we get a laptop to do that service, but once the service is over, that laptop is taken away. Similarly, these qualities, they are given to us, and when their importance is lost, then they are taken away. So because they are not needed for one to go back home, back to Godhead. But till the time these qualities are there, they should be used in the service of the Lord. This is the glory of the devotee. And here we see Lord is glorifying Uddhava by asking Uddhava only what should be done in this circumstance. So this is the nature of the Lord. Lord takes, although Lord is complete, in Upanishads he is called Purna. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Lord is called as complete whole, W-H-O-L-E whole, not H-O-L-E whole. There are a group of philosophers who say that the absolute truth is whole, H-O-L-E whole. They are called voidists. But the Ishwamnisha says, no, Lord is the Purna, complete whole, W-H-O-L-E whole. And whatever emanates from him is also complete. And when this complete emanates from him, that complete still remains the complete, because he is complete. So Lord is called as complete, but he accepts incompleteness in his personality to reciprocate love with his devotees. For example, in this situation we see the Lord is omniscient, he knows everything, but still he accepts ignorance in order to reciprocate love with Uddhav, in order to glorify Uddhav. Lord is called as Atmaram, he is self-satisfied within his own self, but he desires to do ras with the gopis. Bhagavan apita ratri shardot fulla mallika viksharantum manaschakre yoga maya samamrita. He is called as Bhagavan api. Although he is Bhagavan, he is Shadaishwarya Purna, he is full of six opulences, he has nothing, he has no desires. But still, on seeing the moonlit autumn nights that were adorned with the mallika flowers, he desired to do ras with the devotee, with the gopis. So he lost his Atma Ramta, it seems. But this he does in order to reciprocate love with his devotees. Although he is Aptakam, he has no desires to be fulfilled, but he becomes Tanyakam, Bhagavatam says. When he sees the love of Mother Yashoda, he desires to drink milk from Mother Yashoda. So he becomes Tanyakam. Although there are no vices in him, but still he becomes angry when Mother Yashoda keeps him down in order to take care of the Padmagandha milk. So anger is seen within the Lord. Although he is Nirvikar Ishwar, he is beyond any vikar, he is beyond any vices. We see, although the fear personified becomes fear from Krishna, but Krishna becomes fearful when Mother Yashoda runs behind him in order to bind him. Although nobody can bind Krishna, he binds everyone in the ropes of fruitive activities, but he gets bound up by the love of Mother Yashoda. He gets bound up by the ropes of Mother Yashoda. Although he is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he is the master of the entire cosmic manifestation, but he goes and steals in the house of gopis. He becomes Makhan Chor. He is called as absolute truth, Satyam, Satyam Param Dhimai. He is called Param Satya, but that Param Satya starts speaking lies. Naham Bhakshitavan Sarve Mithya Vishinshana. I have not eaten dirt, he says. All these, my friends, and even Daudada, they are telling lie. All these people, they are telling lie. So he is most powerful. He defeated 17 times he defeated the 23 Akshonis of Jarasandha, but 18th time he is running as if he is a coward. Bhagavatam says Abhito Bhiru Bhitavat, and although they are Abhito, he is not fearful, but he is running like a coward in order to attend the letter of Rukmini. So all these things, why does Krishna does? In order to reciprocate love with his devotees. Although he is Purna, he is complete, he is perfect, but he accepts incompleteness within himself in order to reciprocate love with his devotees. And it is not some pretension. It is not that Krishna is acting in such a way. Actually he becomes like that. Krishna, when sees Mother Yashoda running behind him, actually he becomes afraid. Kunti Maharani says, Gopya dade dvai kritaga sidamatavad yate dashashru kalilanjana sambramaksham vaktram niniya bhavavanaya sthitasya samam vimohayati bhirapiyad vibheti. Kunti Mahani says, that sight bewilders me. When Mother Yashoda, in order to bind you, because you have committed the offense of breaking the yogurt pot, Mother Yashoda was running behind you to bind you with the ropes. And on seeing Mother Yashoda with a flower stick coming behind, you became very afraid. And your perturbed eyes overswelled with tears, and the tear washed the mascara, the ointment in your eyes, and you were not even having the courage to look into the eyes of Mother Yashoda. Vaktram Niniyus. You were actually afraid. It is not that you were acting as being afraid. You are actually afraid, and this very sight bewilders me. So this is the nature of the Lord. He is not acting, and actually he becomes afraid. Actually he steals. Actually he becomes subordinate to his devotees. This is by his Yog Maya potency. So, but Uddhav, he knows what is the nature of the Supreme Lord. Uddhav knows that actually the Supreme Lord, because he is Dwarka Parikar, he is very well knows about the opulences of the Krishna as well. So that is why he says that I also don't understand why Lord acts in this ways. In the 3rd canto, when he is talking to Vidura, he says Karmanya Nihasya Bhavo Bhavasyate. Aniha, Lord is called as Aniha, that he does not have any desires, but still he performs the activities. Although he is unborn, Abhava, still he takes birth. Although he is Kalatmanaha, and that he is the invincible time, but still he is running from the battlefield and he is taking shelter of the fort. Although he is Swatman Rate, in that slok says he is Swatman Rate, that he is Atmaram, he is self-satisfied, but still he is marrying 16,000 wives. So all these things, they are bewildering me. So these pastimes of the Lord, they are such that. But all these pastimes are because of the love the Lord has for his devotees. And the devotees, they love the Lord. So because of that love, Lord performs all these pastimes. The heart of the devotees gets sold out when they hear about such pastimes, that how Krishna loves his devotees. And Krishna, although he is unconquered in the 3 worlds, but still he becomes conquered. Krishna says, Lord Narayan says to Durvasa in 9th canto, Mai nirbaddha hridaya sadhava samadarshana vashe kurvanti mam bhaktya sastriya satpatim yatha. That although my devotees, they are equal to everyone, but to me they are especially attached. Mai nirbaddha hridaya. Their hearts are especially attached to me, and with their love they conquer me also. Although I am unconquerable, they conquer me. Just like a wife with her submissive service, she conquers her husband. And there Lord gives this example. Just like a wife with chaste wife with her service, she conquers the husband. Similarly, the devotees with their love, they conquer me. Whatever the devotees say, Krishna has to say and has to do. That is why Krishna asks Arjun in Bhagavad Gita that you declare that my devotees never perish. Kaunteya pratijani name bhaktya praneshati. You go and declare, because when you go and declare, then people will have faith. If I say, then my promise is does not have so much value. This is another pastime. When devotee says that he has to do that, Krishna has to follow that his desire. Bhishma Pitama vowed that Krishna has to, that tomorrow either Arjun will be killed or Krishna has to lift weapon. So Bhishma Pitama took that vow, and he was fighting very fearfully. Next day, very fearlessly, he was fighting very fearlessly, very valiantly the next day. With lightning speed, he was taking out the arrows from his quiver, putting it on his bow and releasing that. Nobody was able to understand that when Bhishma Pitama was doing all these things, everybody, everywhere, Bhishma was appearing. Just like you take some fireball, tie it in a rope and rotate it. So in that round circle, you will see fire, that the fire is everywhere. But actually the fire is at only one place. Because of the speed, it appears that the fire is at all places. Similarly, Bhishma Pitama was fighting with such great speed, it appeared that here also Bhishma Pitama is there also Bhishma Pitama is there. And it was very hard time for Arjuna even to combat Bhishma Pitama. Bhishma Pitama was fighting with such great valiance that Arjun, he was just trying to combat, but in doing that also he was becoming very tired, and there was perspiration drops that were coming on his face. Krishna once looked back and saw that there was drops of perspiration on the face of Arjun, and he became very worried that today Bhishma will kill Arjuna, and immediately he got down from his chariot and started running towards Bhishma. He picked up a chariot wheel that was lying nearby over his head and started running towards Bhishma to kill Bhishma. And at that time, everybody on the battlefield, they started shouting, Bhishma Hata, Bhishma Hata, now Bhishma is dead, now Bhishma is dead. And when Arjun saw that, he got down from the chariot and he started running behind Krishna and caught hold of Krishna. He said, Krishna, no, you cannot do this, because you have promised you will not pick up any weapon. So he was afraid that Krishna's disfame will be there if he picks up the weapon. So he was stopping Krishna that no, you cannot do this. But Krishna was sliding Arjuna and he was saying, no, today I will kill Bhishma because he wants to kill you. So this was the reciprocation between Bhishma and Lord Krishna. That in order to keep promise of Bhishma Pitama, Lord Krishna, he lifted the weapon. You see, if Krishna had to kill Bhishma, immediately he could call his Sudarshan Chakra and immediately Sudarshan Chakra can go and kill Bhishma. But actually he didn't want to kill Bhishma. He just wanted to fulfill his promise. And Bhishma Pitama remembers this at the time of his death. Swanigamam apahayamat pratigyam ritam adhikartum avapluto rathastha dhritarath charano bhyayachaladguhu haririvahantumibham gatotariyah. So Bhishma Pitama is remembering that in order to fulfill my promise, Krishna broke his promise. He says that when I was shooting arrows at Arjuna, then Krishna got down from his chariot, picked up the wheel and started running towards me to kill me, just like a lion runs towards an elephant. At that time the earth started shaking and he even did not take care of his Uttariya Vastra, Gatottariya, that Uttariya Vastra was falling down. So this is how the pastimes between the Lord and the devotees take place. These pastimes are imprinted within the heart, gets imprinted within the heart of the devotee, and devotee is never able to forget them. Krishna says to the gopis, "Na pareham nirvadya sanyujam swasadhu kritam vibdhaisha piva yama bhajan durjarge shrinkhala samrishya tadva pratiyat sadhana." That I cannot repay you. You remain satisfied with your own bhakti. You have worshipped me in such a way, giving up all your family ties. So such talks and such pastimes, when devotees hear, they get embedded within the hearts of the devotees, and they attract the hearts of the devotee towards the conduct, towards the qualities, towards the pastime of Krishna. Actually, you see, we have come to this, we are there in this material world. The purpose of this, many times people in this material world, they want to love somebody. This is the natural tendency of the living entity, to love somebody and get love from somebody. This is the natural tendency. Mother Teresa once she said that everybody is suffering from hunger, not hunger of belly, but hunger of heart. So everybody wants to get love in this world. This is the natural tendency of each and every living entity. But the problem is that we try to repose this loving and service mentality into the people, things, objects of this world. People want to love their spouse, they want to love their children, they want to love wealth, they want to love their friends, they want to love their pets, they want to love their wealth. So people try to repose their loving and service mentality into the things and objects and peoples of this world, but their attempt is completely baffled, because they may be wanting to love somebody else, but there is no reciprocation from other side. Even if there is reciprocation from the other side, that reciprocation may not be permanent. That reciprocation may be there for some time and it may fade away with time, and ultimately when it is ended with death. Mrityu sarva haraschaham, the reciprocation is ended with death. But this is not the case with Krishna. Krishna knows how to reciprocate love with all of us. He is the supreme Rasik, he is Rasik Shekhar. and we also have that love within our heart. This is the natural tendency, and it is the adhikar of the devotee in order to experience that love that is there within his heart. It is not to be brought from somewhere else. Nitya siddha Krishna prem sadhya kabo naay shravan adi suddha chitta kare uday. That Krishna prem, that love for Krishna is already there within the heart, and it is the adhikar of the devotee to reciprocate that love with the Lord. Only it has to be awakened through Shravan and Kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And this is the reason why Krishna comes to this material world, in order to show us his pastimes, in order to show us how he loves his devotees, how his devotees love us. He tells us that, okay, you are not meant to reconciliate with the miseries, the agonies, trials, troubles, tribulations of this world. You are not meant to solve the problems of this world and get stuck up here only. Actually, you are meant to reciprocate love with me. Prema rasa niryasa karite aswadana raga marga bhakti loke karite pracharana. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna comes for these two purposes. Prema ras niryasa karite aswadan, in order to taste the mellows of the transcendental love. And second reason is raga marga bhakti loke karite pracharan, to propagate the bhakti in the mood of spontaneity, in the mood of raga. And through these pastimes, he develops that rag, he develops that attraction within the heart of the devotees. Through such pastimes, he actually shows that how much his devotees love him and how much he loves the devotees. So this 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is like the window to the spiritual world. Here Krishna is telling, see how I am. See how my devotees are. See how much I love my devotees. See how much the devotees love me. And see what kind of pastimes take place. And you are not outside of that pastime. You are also meant to be a part of that pastime. So through this pastime, Krishna attracts the living entities to his pastime. Through this pastime, Krishna attracts the living entities to himself, to the spiritual world. So this 10th canto is that like that window to the spiritual world. And there is nothing more sublime in this world than the love between the Lord and his devotees. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says in the passing of Haridas Thakur that there is nothing more sublime than this. Vishwanath Chakravartipad says in Madhurya Kadambini that this Bhakta Vatsalyata, this reciprocation of the Lord, reciprocation of love between the Lord and his devotees, this is Sarva Chakravarti Guna. This is the best guna of Krishna. Krishna is adorned with many wonderful qualities, but this one quality of Bhakta Vatsalyata, this is the best guna of the Lord. This is the best quality of the Lord. So through these pastimes like this, where Krishna is glorifying his devotees, Krishna is seeking advice from his devotees, and the hearts of the devotees, they are charmed that actually Krishna is so great, but still he is becoming so small in front of his devotees. And we can be also a part of this pastime. So a greed, a rag, a lobh should arise in our heart also. Just like Uddhav is an associate of Krishna, just like Mother Yashoda, just like the gopis, just like the cowherd boys, they are an associate of Krishna. We also can become an associate of Krishna. So this 10th canto has this significant purpose. Hare Krishna. We have little time. If there are some comments, some questions, then you can ask.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. In this verse, when we see that Uddhava is saying that he is so much devoted to the Brahmanas, Jarasandha. 17th time Krishna defeated him, and last time when he came, that Brahmana was doing yagya, that if he doesn't come winner, then he will kill them.
Yes, I have heard.
So this need to be explained.
So I explained that actually why they were devoted to Brahmanas, because they wanted kama, they wanted sense gratification. In order to get sense gratification, they needed wealth, they needed money. In order to get money, they needed dharma. So for doing dharma, they were dependent on Brahmanas. So they respected Brahmanas. Just like an employee in a company. He is dependent on his boss. So he may like or may not like. He has to respect his boss. He has to follow his orders. Correct, right? So similar was the thing here also. Jarasandha, he may like, or these demons, they may like or do not like the Brahmanas, but they have to respect the Brahmanas because in order to do dharma, for getting money, for getting sense gratification. So this is
So it was basically selfish attitude.
Yeah, it is selfish attitude.
This devotion to the Brahmanas was not like Krishna has devotion to Brahmanas.
No, it was not like that. It is only based on selfish agenda. We see the demons, they worship Sukracharya. There also the agenda is same also.
Like Krishna says, when I am walking and Brahmanas are walking along with their dust on my head, with that I purify the 3 words.
Yes.
So that devotion is totally different than devotion is.
That is different.
This should be different.
That is different. Krishna respects the Brahmanas because they are the wielders of the dharma. They follow dharma, they propagate dharma, and they teach everyone how to do dharma. So Krishna respects the Brahmanas. But here this is not the case. It is based on selfish agenda.
Prabhu, second question is Sata Akshonihi. He has hundreds Akshoni Sena. In the Mahabharata war, Kauravas has 11 and Yudhishthira Maharaj 7. So it's 18. He had 100 Akshoni Sena.
He had 100 Akshoni.
So that 100 Akshoni Sena, because everybody was taking part in the war. So what happened to that 100 Akshoni Sena?
Actually, these 100 Akshonis he has captured from different kings. Those 20,000 kings, and their soldiers, they came and joined with Jarasandha because the king was under Jarasandha. So it belonged to those kings only. So when these 20,000 kings, they went to their palace, they took their soldiers along with them.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the class. Like you are saying, like we have heard also like how to perform the Rajasuya Yagya, every king must accept that Yudhishthira is the king and is the king of all the kings. So Jarasandha is one enemy, I can understand. But Jarasandha is one enemy, I can understand that. But then I want to understand why Duryodhana, like he is also ready to accept that Yudhishthira should be accepted as king of all the kings.
At that time, they were like one party. When Rajasuya sacrifice was performed before this gambling match, right? Yes. It was performed before this gambling match. So that time they were like brothers. Although he was envious, Duryodhana was envious of the Pandavas, but he was not outshowing it completely. He was not showing it externally. After Rajasuya sacrifice, when Duryodhana once went into the palace of Maharaj Yudhishthira, and that palace was built by Mayadano, and it was very mysterious palace. There, the surface, the bhumi, it appeared like there is some water, and water appeared to be like similar like tiles and all that. So where there was no water, he was putting up his dhoti, and it appeared that water is there. And where there was water, he just walked in and his dhoti became wet. So Draupadi, on seeing this, she laughed. And she said, the son of blind is blind only. And everybody laughed. Bhima also laughed. Ha 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 ha. Like Krishna also laughed. Yudhishthira Maharaj was saying, stop, this should not be done. But after this incident, Duryodhana became enemy of the Pandavas. Already he was envious, but after this incident, he actually became enemy, and he arranged for that gambling match, and after that all those incidents took place. So it was before that gambling match.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Pranam, wonderful class, so thank you. Prabhuji, you mentioned in last that we can also become associate of the Lord.
Yes.
So can we take a role of Mother Yasoda or gopis?
No, we cannot become Mother Yasoda. You cannot become Radha Lani, or you cannot become Lalita Sakhi or Visakha Sakhi. We can never take their position, but we can assist them. There are, along with Mother Yashoda, there are many co-mothers of Krishna also, whom nurse Krishna, who serve Krishna in motherly affection. So we can take up that role. But one can never become Nanda Maharaj or Yashoda Maya like that.
Then we say that we have our own Swarupa already in the eternal world. So what do you mean by Swarupa?
I don't have so much information regarding that. Really, I don't know. That we have our Swarupa or don't have, because there are different opinions among the acharyas also. What is that slok? In the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yadyad dhiyat urgaya vibhavayanti tattat vapuh pranay se sadanugrahaya. त्वं भक्ति योग परिभावित हृदय सरोजा आस्य सुतेक्षित पथो ननुनाथ पुंसाम यद्यद धिया तुर्गाय विभावयन्ति तत्तत् वपुः प्रणय से सदनुग्रहाय. That shloka says Brahma ji is praying यद्यद धिया तुर्गाय विभावयन्ति, with whatever feeling one worships you, O Lord, तत्तत् वपुः प्रणय से सदनुग्रहाय. That vapu, that Swarupa you give him in order to benefit him. So some have this opinion, no, this Swarupa is not fixed. It is developed in the course of doing bhakti. Some say that it is fixed. So I am confused regarding this. If you come to know and some writing of acharyas, please let me know also. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Srila Prabhupada ki.